Hello children, how are you all? I hope you all are doing well. So today we will learn about reproduction in animals. So students, in this chapter we will first understand what is reproduction, right? And what are the different methods and ways of reproduction, how animals reproduce. Since animals are, in animal there is so much diversity, so there is also diversity and difference in the way they reproduce, right? How they take care of their young ones, we will also understand that. So let's get to our topic. Observe these given picture. Can you see mothers and kids of different animals? Help the kids to reach their mother, okay? Use a pencil of different color for each animal. Do you know what are these animals called? These animals kid called. For example, let's start with the, here is the dog, right? And the puppy, right? What else? The sheep and the lamb, right? So, sheep and the sheep's kid, right? So, this is what you have to do. Now, let's go to the next page. So, what is reproduction? Living organisms such as plants and animals do not live forever, right? They die after some period of time. To continue life, all living beings have the ability to produce more of their own kind. So, all living organisms, be it plant or animals or even human beings, right? We do not live forever. We have a particular age, right? And then we live those years and then we die. So, to continue this process of life, right, the nature has designed the life, the plants and the animals in such a way that this life cycle keeps on continuing through this method of reproduction, right? So, the process by which animals reproduce young ones, their babies of their own kind, is called reproduction, right? So, this is the method through which the animal produce the young one, their babies, okay. Now, there are types of animals on the basis of reproduction. There are two categories. One is oviparous and second is viviparous, right? So, oviparous animals are those that lay eggs, egg laying animal, and these are animals that give birth to young ones, okay. Now, animals reproduce in two ways, okay. What are those two ways? Some animals lay egg, right, and these are called oviparous, like the fish, frog, hens, they all give eggs, and from those eggs their young ones come out. Another is the viviparous, right. In this, some animals give birth to their young ones, right. For example, cow, dog, human beings, though they are all viviparous animals. So, let's deep dive into these type of reproductive methods. Oviparous animals can be divided into three groups on the basis of their habitat. So, the animals that lay eggs can be aerial, oviparous animals such as birds, right, terrestrial, living on the land like insects, snakes, lizards, aquatic oviparous animals living in the water like fishes, and amphibians oviparous which lives both on land and water like frog, okay. So, let's begin with aerial oviparous animals. So, birds, right, such as hens, sparrow, ducks, pigeons and crow, they all lay eggs, right. Egg is covered with a hard protective shell and egg white or albumin is clear jelly-like substance in the egg. It provides protein to the developing chick. So, birds lay eggs, right. We all must have seen the eggs, right, of birds, pigeons, of sparrows, of hens, right. So, they look something like this, right, and they inside it they have a jelly-like substance which is rich in protein, and this protein is helpful in the stage of development. Yolk, So inner part of the egg is yolk. It is yellow in color. It has developing baby called the embryo. Yolk contains the nutrients too, right? So the inside part, right, the egg white or the albumin is clear jelly, and then there is a yolk, the yellow part. So this, or whatever there is inside the egg provides the nutrient to the developing embryo, right? Now let's go to the next page. Adult birds sit on the eggs to keep them warm. Baby birds develop inside the eggs. After a few weeks, the egg hatch and the baby birds come out. This process is called incubation, right? So what happens during incubation? This is the yolk, the yellow part of the egg. Then it is covered, it is surrounded by some jelly-like substance called albumin, and then this is all covered inside a shell, right? So the adult bird sit on this egg and provides the heat, right? And after few weeks, the baby bird come out of this, and this process of sitting on the bird or sitting on the egg, right, and then the bird coming out, the baby bird coming out, this process is called the incubation. Now let's understand the parts of egg, parts of an egg. An egg has following things. First, shell, the outer part, right, made up of calcium carbonate, albumin, this contain water, this part, it has water and protein. The yolk, this yellow part, contains carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins and minerals. Embryo, the developing baby, embryo is the developing baby, and it has air cell present at the wider end, this part. It contains air for breathing before the egg hatches, right? It has some amount of air for the developing embryo. Do you know ostrich lay the largest eggs of any living bird? Okay. Now let's learn about the terrestrial oviparous animals. So these were aerial. Now let's go to the land. So such as insects reproduce by laying eggs. The female insect lay egg anywhere on the wood, in water, on leaves, or even on the bodies of other animals. These eggs stick to the surface. So the insects lay egg on the wood, on the leaf, or on the surface of the body of animal also. So let's understand the terrestrial oviparous animals. So how this process of reproduction takes place in case of insects? Let's begin it with the butterfly. So a butterfly has 4 stages in its life cycle, right? Eggs are laid on the lower side of the leaf. So this is the leaf, right? And the eggs are laid on the lower side of the leaf, right? In this form, it has very small eggs, white colored eggs. Then egg hatches and larva comes out. Okay, so this is how a larva looks like. So it is called the caterpillar, right? It grows, the caterpillars spin a covering called a pupa, right? The caterpillar grows in size, it eats a lot of leaf, it grows in size, and then it covers itself from a covering, right? That's called the pupa. Next, pupa turns into butterfly, right? This development happens for weeks, and then the butterfly, the pupa turns into butterfly. Now let's go to the next page. So similarly, in case of cockroach, a cockroach has 3 stages in the life cycle, right? So what happens? Eggs, okay, the adult lays the egg, hatch into the baby cockroach called the nymph, right, called the nymph. They shed their skin, many times called the molting, right? So the nymphs keep on growing, shedding their skin, and then keep on growing. Now finally they become the adult cockroach, right? So can you tell what is molting? So okay, this question is for you. Now other terrestrial animals also, like snake and lizard, also reproduce by laying eggs, but they have different process. Now let's come to the aquatic oviparous animals. So fish fish lay thousands of eggs in water in the form of cluster. This mass of eggs of a fish is called spawn. So basically fish lays thousands of eggs together in water, right? And this is called the spawn. Now let's go to the next page. So out of this cluster, right, only few hundred grow into the baby fish. Others are destroyed or eaten by the big fish, right? And that's the reason they produce so much eggs, right? They lay so much egg because they are either destroyed mostly or either eaten by the big fish. So the spawn becomes the early tadpole, then it gets converted to later tadpole, then finally the adult frog, and then adult frog again, then adult frog lay eggs. So this is how the life cycle of frog continues. Now let's understand about the amphibian oviparous animals. So as frog lay eggs in water in the form of cluster called spawn, an egg developed into fish-like creature with a tail. It is called tadpole. It breathes with the help of gills. It keeps growing and changing and turns into an adult frog. So this is how amphibians like frog continues its life cycle. Okay. Do you know the process of changing tadpole into an adult is called metamorphosis? This whole process of conversion, right, is called metamorphosis. Newly born rabbits are blind and hairless. So do you know the rabbits that are newly born, they cannot even see, they are blind, but as soon as they grow, they start to see, right? They start to develop hair. Now let's understand about viviparous animals. Okay. So viviparous animals are those animals that give birth to their babies or the young ones. For example, cow, dog, cat, monkey, horses, lions, tiger, and also human beings. The young ones of these animals feed on their mother's milk till they learn to eat food. So these animals produce what? Milk, right? For their young ones. And they drink this milk until they themselves learn to eat food. So animals that reproduce by giving birth to their young ones feed them with their own milk and have their bodies, right? These are called mammals. Okay. So now can you tell me what are mammals? Mammals are those animals that produce milk. Okay. Milk producing animals are mammals. Do you know dolphins and whales are the fish which are actually mammals? They give birth to the young ones. Okay. They give birth to the young ones. So dolphins and whales are not fish but mammals. Okay. Most mammals live on land. For example, cow, dog, elephant, right? Everyone. But dolphins and whales live under the water. Now let's go to the next page. Now let's understand how these animals take care of their young ones. So animals nurture and take care of their young ones and they keep them warm and feed them. So until they grow, they have to provide them with safety, the warmth, right? And they also have to feed them. Most birds build nest to protect their eggs. Okay. So to protect their eggs, birds build the nest. They are taken care and young birds are fed by the parents. A kangaroo carries its baby in its pouch. Okay. So until the baby becomes young, the kangaroo keeps it safe inside its pouch. A cow uses its horns to attack anyone who comes close to its young calf. Okay. So this is how cow give protection to its calf. A cat fights attackers with its claws to save its kittens. Okay. So cat have claws and it can also fight the attackers, right, to protect its kittens. A snake coils around the eggs and attacks the animals that come close. Okay. So snake coils around the eggs, right, and protect it. Do you know animals such as koalas, opossum and kangaroos are called marsupials? They have external pouch to protect their young ones. So who are marsupials? Marsupials are those animals who have pouch-like thing in their body to protect their young ones. They keep them in that pouch. Now, what is a lifespan? So, all living things live for certain period of time and then they die. The period for which a living thing lives is called its lifespan. Okay. So, from the point of birth to the time of death, this period of a living thing is called a lifespan. Now, let's recall this chapter and see what we have learned. Producing young ones of their own kind by the living organism is called reproduction. Reproduction helps in continuing all life on the earth. The animals that lay eggs from which babies hatch out are called oviparous animal. The animals that give birth to the younger ones are called viviparous animals. Insects have several stages in their life cycle. Animals, including all mammals, take care of the young ones till they become capable of taking care of themselves. The period by which a living organism lives, it's called its lifespan. Now, let's go to the next page. Let's get to the exercise now. So, we will get to all the question one by one and solve one part of each question. Rest you will do by your own. So, first question is tick the correct option. Dash is not an oviparous animal. Okay, so not. So, it is talking about viviparous. So, hen, butterfly, rat. Okay, so rat is not an oviparous animal. Okay. Next question is match the following. We have to match this column with the another column. So, frog, nymph, chicken, caterpillar, albumin, tadpole. So, frog is related to the tadpole, right? Question next is fill in the blank. The animal which lay eggs are called, so egg laying animals are called oviparous animal, right? Next question is true and false. A bird is not oviparous animal. So, oviparous are what? The egg laying, and bird lay eggs, right? So, this is a false statement. Now, let's go to the next page. Next question is short answer question. Define reproduction. So, it is the process by which the animal give birth to the young ones, right? Next question is long answer question. Explain different parts of a bird's egg, right? So, we studied it, right? It has the shell, then it has yolk, the albumin, right, and the air sac, okay, and the embryo also. Now, next you have one fun activity. So, life cycle of a mosquito. Fill a glass jar with drain water or stagnant water and keep the jar in a dark room for few days. Examine it every day. After a few days, you will find larvae swimming in the jar water. Cover the jar with a muslin cloth and note how many days you find the egg, pupa and adult mosquito. So, what you have to do is take a dirty water, maybe some stagnant water, keep it in a jar in a dark room, and then after some days you will see the mosquito larva will be swimming on the jar water. Observe it, right? Cover it jar with the muslin cloth, but observe all the cycles and see how this process takes place and how each step takes time, right? Next, make a colorful chart on the life cycle of a butterfly and a hen also. You can use materials such as leaves, beads, thread, cotton to show how different stages. Label the picture also. The given picture will help you. So, just look at this. You can take the idea from this. You have to show the life cycle of a butterfly and a hen using different kinds of things, okay? So, I hope this chapter is clear to you now. So, based on the understanding from this chapter, you have to revise and do the rest of the questions in your homework.